How's everyone doing? Today I have an awesome update for 80s horror movies. I love the 80s, I love horror movies. Very soup for these pickups. Bam! For your face! And as always, if you've seen any of these movies, definitely let me know what you think of them. First up is the 1985 vampire classic Fright Night, directed by Tom Holland, and you might call this Mr. Holland's opus. See what I did there? No? Didn't like it? Fair enough. Tom Holland also directed Child's Play and Thinner. Fright Night is one of my all-time favorite vampire movies. I would say probably at least in my top 5, if not higher. And I had this movie before and I had to repurchase it. I couldn't find it. A while back I had a few of my movies stolen. I guess this is one of the ones that were stolen because I couldn't find it and I had to have it. I know this is coming out on Blu-ray soon, but you know what? I really wanted to watch it, so I had to buy it right then on the spot. I just had to pick it up. My collection wouldn't be the same without it. This is a classic vampire movie. If you're into 80s horror movies and you haven't seen this, go check this out. It stars Chris Sarandon as Jerry Dandrige, and it has Amanda Bearse, Marcy Darcy from Married with Children, and the iconic Roddy McDowall as Peter Vincent, the one and the true only Peter Vincent, as well as Stephen Geoffreys, who will always be known as Evil Ed, well, that and gay porn. Forget Evil McLovin. It's always Stephen Geoffreys for Evil Ed. And I did a whole kind of mini rant, if you will, on the Fright Night remake. If you want to see that, just click right here. I did a whole video about it when I saw the trailer, how I reacted to it. Definitely sparked a lot of debate, and I got a lot of negative comments on that, which is always fun. But honestly, I felt like that remake was completely unnecessary. This was a classic in my opinion. I just wish sometimes they would re-release certain movies in the theaters again to a newer, younger audience who probably haven't seen them before. Because a lot of times, you know, people say, oh, the remake doesn't affect the original. I disagree. When they do the remake, most of the time, people don't even know that it is a remake, and they don't bother watching the original. And the originals are nearly always better. This is just another example. But at least we're finally going to get a Blu-ray of this coming up soon. I do hope Fright Night 2 will be re-released on DVD or Blu-ray as well. Fright Night 2, I love that movie just as much as the first. The only thing I didn't like about Fright Night 2 was the ending. I thought that was a little bit of a cop-out. But the rest of that movie was so cheesy and campy. I liked it just as much, and I really want that in my collection. But it's out of print and it's so freaking expensive. But I just can't say enough great things about Fright Night. I just love this one. I grew up in this one. One of my favorite vampire movies. Just so much fun. Basic storyline, Charley Brewster finds out that there's a vampire living next door, Jerry Dandrige, and he has to stop him from killing everybody. It's a basic storyline, but it's a lot of fun, and I'm so happy to have this in my collection again. Had to pick it up. And Tom Holland was actually born in Poughkeepsie, New York, which is right next to where I used to live. I used to live in Orange County, which is right over there, and I believe Snooki is actually from Poughkeepsie, New York as well. More of a dubious association there. But I used to go to the Poughkeepsie Galleria all the time, as well as the Middletown Crystal Run Galleria as well. A lot of fun. One of those, it's been a while, I can't remember which one had the laser tag, but that was so awesome back in the day playing laser tag there. But both gallerias were a lot of fun. Very cool to know that he was born right in the town where I used to live. Gives me even more of a connection. And next up is C.H.U.D, Cannibalistic Humanoid Underground Dwellers. And it's a bit of a Home Alone reunion with John Hurt and Daniel Stern in it. Basically they're dumping toxic waste into the sewers, and the homeless people are turning into like these mutant creatures. And it's just a fun, cheesy 80s movie, and I just love this one. I remember watching this back in the day on VHS, and it's just a lot of fun. And they need to release C.H.U.D 2, C.H.U.D the Bud, on DVD. I know they have it in the UK, but they don't have it here in the US. And that was just a really fun, cheesy movie as well. And this is one of the first movies that I ever saw John Goodman in. John Goodman played a police officer at the very end of the movie. It's been a long time since I saw the VHS version of this, but I remember it being slightly different than the DVD version towards the end. But if you've seen both, let me know what you think, and let me know how you remember it, because, I don't know, maybe it's just me. It's been a long time since I've seen it. Maybe I'm just remembering it wrong. But either way, it's a lot of fun and a great movie. Highly recommend it if you're into 80s horror movies. It definitely has some cheese-tastic moments. Next up is The Stuff with Michael Moriarty, Garrett Morse from Saturday Night Live, and Paul Sorvino. This movie's a lot of fun. It's kind of like a sci-fi horror comedy movie. It kind of reminds me of The Blob. Basically, they find this ooze coming out of the earth and they decide to market it as kind of like a tasty treat, and everybody that eats it becomes kind of a zombie. And it's kind of like a zombie cult taking over the world, trying to get more people to eat it, and it's The Stuff. It's like this white ooze. And as a kid, I always wanted to try it. It looked so good and tasty. But this movie was a lot of fun. I remember watching this a lot when I was younger. I remember watching all these ones that I picked up in this update a lot as a kid, and I'm so happy to have them in my collection. It's about time. I know I had a couple of these before, and I guess they were just stolen, which is a shame, but you know what? I'm happy to re-add them in my collection, and they're all at decent prices, so I definitely recommend all these ones if you're into 80s horror movies. And I really like Garrett Morris's Chocolate Chip. Just, like I said, it's just a fun movie. Definitely check it out. Next up is The Hitcher with Rutger Hauer, C. Thomas Howell, and Jennifer Jason Leigh. Now, I haven't seen the remake to this. I heard mixed things about the remake. Let me know if you've seen the remake and if I should check it out or not. but I love this one. Rutger Hauer was just so creepy and he freaked me out when I was younger, I have to admit. Rutger Hauer plays basically just a crazy serial killing hitchhiker, and he's after C. Thomas Howell. And C. Thomas Howell gets framed for the hitchhiker's murders, and it's all kinds of craziness. And they actually made a sequel to this a few years later with Jake Busey as the hitchhiker serial killer. And C. Thomas Howell's still in it. And I remember kind of liking it, but it's been so long. I remember it definitely wasn't as good as the first one. I remember being a little bit more cheesier. But I kind of want to see that one now. And this movie was written by Eric Red, who also wrote Near Dark, and he wrote and directed Body Parts and Bad Moon. So definitely a talented guy. But there you go, those were my pickups right there. Fright Night, The Stuff, C.H.U.D, and The Hitcher. All 80s horror classics in my opinion. Definitely go check them out if you haven't seen them. And if you have seen them, definitely let me know what you think of them. Leave me a comment down below. And I hope everybody's doing well. Take care.